facing real consequences. That when you play totish games, you win foolish prizes. The mighty US of A, look how them in disarray, because they forget the first dose of madness. So with the short-term memory, they welcome back Donald T to give that fascist a second term in office. But after they take the bait and they realize where's the fate, enough of them want to change the vote, but it is too late. You see the FA, FO, I say the FA, now they go FO. Plenty immigrants made their choice. Uncle Donald they supporting, but he put their support on ice and themselves he start deporting. FA, FO, I say the FA, now they go FO. But now Donald breaks in because it now so keen. He naming the Epstein files, so they now studying like they're voting a presidential pedophile. FA, FO, I say the FA, now they go FO. You see when you're ever wrong, there's no doubt. Even Uncle Sam will find out that what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in the mouth. When you shout FA, FO, tell him that is the call. Oh, say, can you see? You see the call? Come in. Trinidadian love all fours, you know that is the truth. So when America Trump, we just follow suit. If them MAGA morons is America's concern, well, we present government is easily the clones. From 2010 to 15, the tenure was so obscene. Scandalize the land and destroy we economy. What? Like we miss the free-for-all, incompetence and bubble. So we bring them back to finish mash up the country. And as they assume their roles, I set a square peg in wrong holes. Now plenty people who help them win at the polls. Feel the FA, FO. They say the FA, now they go FO. The two worst Alexanders in the world and to make ministers. One is a racist troll and one need a West Indian first primer. FA, FO. I say the FA, now we go FO. Meanwhile, Tanti setting up TNT in people worship we in place. She should have let the Yankee army plant the red eye in shipping palace. FA, FO. I said the FA, now she go FO. You see when you're ever wrong, there's no doubt. What's on and on grata must find out that what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in she mouth. Sing it out. FA, FO. Tell him that is the call. Cause when cold yellow wins, corruption begins. Where's the real code? Let me talk to the doc. Doc, you had the mandate of most of the electorate, not to mention the support of your party base. Somehow you took that to mean you could manipulate and dictate the decision of who should take your place. And because you were the top dog, you move like an overlord. You find when you tell them jump, they should have asked how high. You set out to sway the vote, offer up a young scapegoat to just get a kobo sweat after you say bye-bye. You delay party convention, play with party constitution, and figure you could have gerrymander the outcome. But your FA, FO, your FA, and then your FO. You chain up the young man for truth to snap the election fingers fast. Although every poll warn you that would have be a shortcut. That's FA, FO, your FA, now all of we FO. So for your voters who stayed away, you certainly have a part to play. But they feel like they get betrayed like it had snake in the body. Say FA, FO, I say your FA, now all of we FO. You see when you're ever wrong without doubt, even strong leaders find out that what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in the mouth. When you shout FA, FO, and that
we save him. Let me come together and save labor. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together. You and me and save labor. I hear you. Save him.
people fight with all their might just to keep labor strong.
It's up to you, it's up to me. We can't let the brother down. Save him, let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Let me save him, let me save him. Let me come together, you and me. Save labor. I hear you. Save him. Are you going to sit down and allow them to hang labor next Tuesday morning? No, comrade. Are you going to sit down and allow them to hang labor next Tuesday morning? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to sit down and allow them exploiters just so to hang him? I say no, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. We got to work on a plan to save this man from total destruction. It's up to you and it's up to me to do the best we can. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Come, save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Are you going to allow the works of Uriah and Rienzi go down the drain? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to allow the lives of Weeks and Leonard to go in vain? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. So I'm calling on Joe Young, I'm calling on Nunes, I'm calling on Michael too. Take back down your gun, trouble in the tongue. Let's see what we can do. Save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Are you going to allow fraction and friction to make we forget we hero? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to allow cheap politics to make we hero die so? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. So much people fight with all their might just to keep labor strong. It's up to you, it's up to me. We can't let the brother down. Save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save labor. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together. You and me. Save labor. I hear you. Save him.
The information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. all information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
The Constructive Talk team with Pastor Google are asking for your support in their back-to-school drive. Let's help the less fortunate children get ready for the new school term. Donations of notebooks, copybooks, stationeries, and book bags would be greatly appreciated. Show your love, show your generosity by contacting 464-703, and we will organize collection of your donations. Thank you from the Constructive Talk team. And remember to be kind, be generous, and be loved.
Yak and Friends proudly presents Uhuru 8. Join us on Saturday, July 25th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the City Hall Auditorium, Harris Promenade in San Fernando. This year's celebration is held in honor of Mr. Anthony Kamiziong as we continue strengthening our African ties through culture, unity, and heritage. Experience an unforgettable evening of African dance, powerful drumming, cultural expression, and a great food. Early bird tickets are $350 admits 2 and $200 admits 1. Come dressed in your finest African attire for a chance to win Best Dressed Male and Female. Celebrate African culture. Celebrate freedom. Celebrate Uhuru 8. For tickets, contact 684-1792 or ticket outlet at Something Special with Finishing Touch at Ritz Plaza, number 25, St. James Street in San Fernando.
Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk.
Hey, all year, na. Oh, I just played football and basketball, then I take a little walk in the mall. Now I say, please hear my call, I need some water to wash my ball. Hey, all year, na. Oh, I just played football and basketball, then I take a little walk in the mall. Now I say, please hear my call, I need some water to wash my balls.
Please, send some water. Please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer, I really need to wash my balls. Yes, I need to bathe and I need to cook. Laundry piling up on the walls. But before anything else, was a look, I want water to wash my balls.
Please, send some water. Please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer, I really need to wash my balls. You may not believe it's true, But my wife balls dirty too. My teeth getting yellow like they ripe. Wassa, please put water in the pipe.
Please, please, send some water. Please, please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer. I really need to wash my balls. Hey, 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 hey. All year, all year. Ah, na 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 na. Oh, I just played football and basketball. Then I take a little walk in the mall. Now, Wassa, please hear my call. I need some water to wash my balls.
Please, please, send some water. Please, please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer. I really need to wash my balls. Yes, I need to bathe and I need to cook. Laundry piling up on the walls. But before anything else, Wassa, look, I want water to wash my balls.
Please, please, send some water. Please, please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer. I really need to wash my balls. You may not believe it's true, but my wife balls dirty too. My teeth getting yellow like they ripe. Wassa, please put water in the pipe.
Please, please, send some water. Please, please, hear these calls.
I can't take it no longer. I really need to wash my balls.
All right, good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension, the world, those of you who are locked on to Constructive Talk. And this evening, I have a guest that's already with me. I have a guest that is already with me on Constructive Talk. So, I am really thankful to those of you who are joining me this evening. This evening, we are going to be talking to Mr. Idi Stuart. And he is coming on to talk about issues that is confronting the nurses. So just bear with me. He's already on the line. I'm going to bring him on. I want him to listen. I want him to listen to this song.
Morning, no comrade, I'm telling you, no comrade. Are you going to sit down and allow them exploiters just so to hang him? I say no comrade, I'm telling you, no comrade. We got to work on a plan to save this man from total destruction. It's up to you and it's up to me to do the best we can. Let me save him, let me save him. Let us come together and save Labour. Come, save him. Let me save him. Let us come together and save Labour.
Let me come together and save Labour. That's the song, you know, and that's an old song from Black Stallion. An old song from Black Stallion. Let me come together and save Labour. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, who is no stranger to Constructive Talk. He has been on the program before, and I always am very insightful and I'm very delightful to have him on with me. Why? Because when I talk to Mr. Stuart, sometimes I feel to go back into nursing, you know. But no. That's just a feeling. That's just a feeling. Just a feeling. But it has been a good feeling. It's been a really, really good feeling to feel to go back into something that it was my past, was one of my first love. All right. And again, I'm really delightful to have him on with me this evening. So let me introduce none other than Mr. Stuart. Good evening, sir.
Pleasant evening to you and your listeners. Thanks for having me.
Well, I hope you heard what I said just now.
Yes, I heard loud and clear, and we will definitely welcome you back into nursing.
So, Mr. Stuart, so much is happening. So much is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes you can't keep up. But I somewhat dedicated this week to the labor movement. I had your good friend Miss Joanne on with me last night. I have you on tonight. I plan to have Miss DeBeek on tomorrow, please God. And I also plan to have Mr. Crystal. But I need to get his number from you. So before you leave, you would send me his number so that I can introduce myself to him and have him on the program.
Sure.
All right. So, Mr. Stuart, so much is happening in the labor front because this is your month, you know. This is Labor Month.
This is Labor Month.
Labor Month. This is how much years are you all going to be? Is the union going to be celebrating Labor Day in Faizabad? What year would this be?
Well, we started going to Faizabad just before we became a union. We became a union in 2014. And a few years before that, we began going. So about 2013, 2012.
Okay.
The association is since 1930, but we are only a union since 2014. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but do you have an idea of how long the labor movement have been celebrating labor?
Oh, the labor movement.
Yeah.
Been going to Faizabad. Well, it would have been since the whole Butler riots. It was soon after that.
Yeah.
So a significant number of years.
Yeah.
It is something that we have to really be cognizant of. And, persons say celebrate Labor Day, celebrate labor, celebrate the movement. But we need to keep our eyes on what was the purpose of those events that led to the riots, those events that led to the recognition of Labor Day, and ensure that what we do at Avocat and Charlie King Junction is not lost upon the persons who attend, nor the presentees, the presenters, nor the presentees, and it is not turned into something that our forefathers would be ashamed of.
I hear you.
Definitely for the Nursing Association, we are guarded with regards to that. Yeah?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear where that is concerned. I hear you loud and clear. Well, Mr. Stuart, media review is at hand, and a lot of persons are wondering and worried and concerned because in this whole media review, in the upcoming media review discussion, people are saying, but they're not hearing any sort of allocation for the nurses. You're hearing for the contractors union, you're hearing for the teachers, the military, all the different persons, but you're not hearing anything for the nurses, and people are concerned. I want to play the clip for you that we listened to last night in the news and would have brought some sort of concern to the listeners and to persons who understand and have been recognizing your fight and your struggle since since you all have recognized that there is you're not hearing anything. So let me play for you first of all the clip, and then you can give us an somewhat how you feel about what is being presented to Trinidad and Tobago. All right. So we're gonna play you Trinidad and Tobago the clip from the news last night where Finance Minister and the CPO and everybody would have weighed in to this situation. Take a listen to this.
Labour Minister Leroy Batiste has clarified that the $2.8 billion being sought by the government in the mid-year budget review is intended to fund salary increases for public sector workers whose unions have already concluded wage negotiations and not for new salary settlements.
There appears to be some confusion in the public over who will be benefiting from that money. The minister and CPO are tonight seeking to offer some clarity.
But as Akash Samaru tells us, questions still remain on when health workers will see a pay increase.
$2.8 billion to pay 62,050 unionized workers. But if your union has not yet finalized its negotiations with the chief personnel officer, then that money is not for you. To ensure there's as little confusion as possible with this matter going into the mid-year review, CNC3 News asked Labour Minister Leroy Batiste to outline which unions do these 62,000 workers belong to, if this money is to cover what has already been agreed to, and if the money is to cover salaries and back pay commitments. The minister said while he would not want to comment on the exact calculations, the money is in respect to arrangements already arrived at and with the goal of meeting those obligations. Asked if this means a 10% agreement signed by the PSA, the NUGFW, and TUTA's 5% agreement, the minister said it appears so, and added that the $2.8 billion has to do with meeting increases resulting from those agreements. The Chief Personnel Officer also offered some clarity. Dr. Daryl Dindial said the money will cover commitments to PSA, TUTA, Defence Force, NUGFW, Amalgamated Workers Union, and the Contractors and General Workers Trade Union. He also gave a brief breakdown of the negotiating periods that money will cover. But there is a notable absence of a group that has been asking about their pay bump since December last year. CNC3 News has been informed that health workers who did not benefit from the last 10% arrangement between the PSA and the CPO were not included in this requested $2.8 billion. CNC3 News asked PSA President Felicia Thomas for an update on those negotiations. Thomas said discussions on the proposed 10% salary increase for regional health authority workers have been completed, with cost estimates for salaries and arrears now submitted to the Health Ministry for review. She said the union expects to receive instructions on settling the salary issue following the government's mid-year budget review, citing comments made by the Prime Minister last Friday. But CNC3 News informed the PSA president that we were told that the money referenced by the Prime Minister will not cover any new or yet to be settled negotiations. The PSA president replied that she will seek clarity on the matter. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
And economists.
All right, so Mr. Stuart.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about
what
are your thoughts about what you just heard?
Yes. Well, there's so much to unpack for the benefit of the listeners. So let me probably begin with December 2025.
Right.
So December 2025, November, December, when PSA would have settled negotiations for public servants, persons, well, the association would have indicated to our membership, would have indicated to RHA workers, we have been here before. We would have been here before because one could understand persons are on 2013 salaries. They are eager. They are looking out for notification as to when salary increases would be made. They heard PSA would have negotiated or the government would have agreed to allocate that 10% for healthcare for public servants, with that 20,000 upfront payment out of their overall back pay. So workers were really eager, and we could understand that. But unfortunately, we were here before, and we were here back in 2014, 2015, actually, during the last time PSA negotiated for public servants. And the government at that time, which ironically is the same government at this occasion, the UNC government, would have come out, the Minister of Health, the CPO, the Prime Minister, same Prime Minister now, would have come out and indicated that that settlement does not affect healthcare workers, does not affect regional health authority workers, because regional health authority workers are not considered public servants. We are considered contracted workers operating within a state enterprise. Each person working in the RHA has an individual contract employed by individual RHAs, unlike persons working in the Ministry of Health, for instance, who came through civil service or whatever means, and they don't have they are true public servants, true public officers. Now, so knowing what transpired almost 10 years ago, now 11 years ago, back in 2015, we recognized that once that was completed, we needed to begin pressing the government to allocate that same amount towards healthcare workers. There's a whole backstory to that.
Right.
So, but for the benefit of the listeners, I'll still try to break it down as fast as possible. One of the first things that the Minister of Finance did, actually it was the only time he ever made a comment regarding healthcare workers, RHA workers, in terms of getting a salary increase, this current Minister of Finance, where he would have indicated via a press release that because he understandably was hearing the conversation, okay, healthcare workers going to get part of that, and he made it clear that no, healthcare workers will not, RHA workers will not be receiving that 10%. That 10% is for public servants.
Right.
And he also indicated within that missive that it is the TTNNA who has to negotiate with the employer. The employers will be the CEOs of the RHAs to obtain a salary increase. So we said, okay, if you are going to go that route, we have no issue. We would comply and proceed. So early, we would have immediately written the CEO of the RHA, who we have the RMU for, and requested an urgent resumption of negotiations, because we want to remind persons negotiations had already started with TTNNA since before the election of 2025. The association started negotiations in around March of 2025, soon after we got RMU status, and we started negotiations with the RHA for the outstanding period being 2014 come forward. Yes. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So is 4 periods outstanding, and we enter a 5th period currently. So we would have started negotiations. We would have been lobbying the then government, the PNM government, back in March, February, January of 2025, lobbying them to begin negotiations. And when Honorable Stuart Young came into office as Prime Minister, he instructed the authority to begin negotiating with us. Following the elections of April 2025, all negotiations came to a screeching halt throughout the country. No negotiations was held up until November, December of 2025, where PSA and the CPO resumed negotiations, and they eventually settled after the budget. So, and this is important to note, even though the government would have highlighted a number of unions who this 2.8 billion is going to seek to pay the back pay and all of those things, it is important to know that the government has only settled for 2 unions thus far, which is the PSA and NUJFW. All the other unions that are awaiting their back pay would have been settled prior to the national elections, prior to under the last government. So the contractors, all the other unions, TUTA and all of them. So PSA settled in November, December 2025, and then NUJFW settled a few months ago. And so we understand that, okay, they need to find this money now and pay these persons, and that is what the mid-year budget review is seeking to do. Pay this outstanding sums. I know there's still some outstanding issues between the PSA and CPO in terms of how they are going to receive this back pay, because all of the other unions would have received cash. And now the government is asking the PSA to agree to 40% cash and the rest in some other means. And I don't believe the PSA has accepted that part as yet. So even though the budget, the mid-year budget review will set aside the funds, I don't think any payment will be made as yet. But we will see how that goes, because the CPO and the government has indicated that is their final offer. But I know public servants are not too pleased with only receiving 40% of their back pay. Not to mention they have already received $20,000 out of that 40%. So a number of things are happening simultaneously. Now, where does it leave healthcare workers, and not just nursing and midwifery personnel, but all regional health authority workers? It leaves us in a very strange position, because when the association went to the RHA to begin that resume negotiations, we were surprised by the comments coming from the administration. Because there's a new board in place, new directives has been given, the CEO remains the same, but there's a new board in place. And what we are being told now is that despite you having recognized majority union status, you would only be allowed to negotiate from 2025 go forward. You would not be able to negotiate going back, which is the most strangest thing that could happen in a negotiation. So picture this. Picture you are working on a salary of $10,000 a month. Just call a figure, $10,000 a month in 2000. Yes, year 2000, you are working on $10,000 a month. There has been no negotiations for the last 20 years. So you are in 2020 now, and negotiations are going to commence, and the employer is saying, we will only allow you to negotiate from 2020 go forward. Forget the years 2000 to 2020. We just focusing on 2020 go forward. What, and we asking them, so what is to happen to those 20 years outstanding? And they're telling, well, we're not sure what is going to happen, we can't say for certain what is going to happen, but we're just going to go forward. But then you ask them, okay, notwithstanding that makes absolutely no sense, because are you just going to dismiss those 20 years? So what is going to happen? Okay, let's move forward from that. Okay, tell us, since we are going to negotiate from 2020 go forward, tell us, what is the salary that we should have received in 2020? Because our $10,000 is the 2000 salary, it is not the 2020 salary. Tell us, because that is how negotiation is generally done in Trinidad and Tobago. You put on a percentage based on the last negotiation. But if you are excluding all of those years of negotiation, then what we are putting the percentage on? So and that is where we are at as the TTNNA. We, despite nursing and midwifery personnel and all healthcare workers working on 2013 salaries, the government directing the RHAs saying we can only negotiate from 2025 go forward. So, okay, how do we move forward? Since we may not be as knowledgeable as these persons in the Ministry of Finance or the RHA. Tell us, and we cannot come up with a figure or a percentage because that period, 2025 period, has not arrived as yet in terms of our salaries. It has arrived in person. We have now passed it. We are in 2026. But the dollar value that we should have been working for has not arrived. Our salaries still are at 2013. So we cannot give you a percentage offer. So you give us your offer. You tell us what you are basing your percentage offer of. And as expected, they cannot give us an offer. So while all other unions, they were being told that they are being 5% from your last salary, 4%, 10%, the government can't even say an offer to nursing and midwifery personnel because of the illogical position, the illogical stance that they are taking in terms of when they want to begin negotiations from. So, notwithstanding that, there's an opportunity still to just put in our original submissions, which we are actually doing with the authority. We are putting on the table where negotiations generally would want to agree to send one single document to the government for their consideration. Unfortunately, that cannot happen. It will be the association sending our proposal and the employer sending their proposal. Those two proposals will go to the Ministry of Health and be reviewed by the Human Resource Committee of the government with input from the CPO, not negotiated by the CPO. We don't negotiate, but the CPO would still give his input, and then it will go to the Ministry of Finance and they will do the needful. And we would see what formula they would come up with. But as of this point in time, there is no offer on the table for nursing and midwifery personnel. And worse yet, there is no offer on the table or no discussions being had with any healthcare worker. Now, one would be hearing from time to time the Public Service association speaking about regional health authority workers. Of course, they do have members within the regional health authorities, because persons can join any union of their choice. Now, who they can legally negotiate for is two groups of persons. The first group is a group of persons who would have been initially working in the Ministry of Health prior to the formations of these regional health authorities. They would actually have been employed by the civil service, employed in the public service, and been working within the Ministry of Health at one of the hospitals. But when the hospitals were handed over to these RHAs, they were also handed over via transfer or via being seconded to the RHAs. These persons, if they were PSA members back then, they continue to remain PSA members, and PSA have a legal and a legitimate right to negotiate for them. So their salaries will go up. So we would actually have obtained the exact numbers of those persons still existing within the system, because one could imagine the RHA Act is since 1994. The RHAs were actually formed around 2006, around there, 2005, 2006. They actually were created. So you're speaking about in excess of 20 years ago, that these persons would have been employed firstly by the Ministry of Health and then moved over to the RHAs. As one would expect, the majority of them would have retired by now and moved out of the system. And there are just a few persons still existing. And actually, there are no nursing personnel currently operating. So there are one or two dentists in an RHA, one or two, like Eastern Regional Health Authority, actually have no one in those categories. So it's very a small group. But what healthcare workers have to rely on, basically, seeing that the other healthcare workers don't have a recognized majority union, with the exception of doctors, MPAT for doctors, TTNA for nurses, and UGFW for daily paid workers. The remaining monthly staff don't have a recognized majority union. So they are still dependent on the government saying that, well, there still exists one or two persons still within the system who were previously civil servants. So then we would give those persons an increase, and we can't have, for the sake of parity, we can't have one person working in the RHA doing the same job as somebody who was hired by the Ministry of Health, and another person is hired by the RHA, and they're getting a different salary. So for parity, we will make them. And that issue of parity, it took us 7 months of protests back in 2015 for RHA workers to get that parity. 7 months of protests under Dr. Fawad Khan. And even at that point, when we finally got the salary increase a month before election, the back pay, we actually had to go back and protest against the PNM to demand the back pay for that increase. So, and the PNM eventually, and there are clips with, I remember there are clips with Faris Al-Wari making a comment, that they have to go and find this money to pay the RHA workers. And they end up doing that over a 2-year period to pay that back pay. So that is basically where we are at. We are we are neither fish nor fowl when it comes to negotiating, because the government is not even giving us an offer to counter with. The period they want to negotiate for is illogical. And then for the remaining RHA workers, inclusive of nursing and midwifery personnel, who are dependent, who are hoping that at least that the government would see that leaving healthcare workers, inclusive of nursing and midwifery personnel, on 2013 salaries in 2026 is totally unacceptable. We hope the government would appreciate that, and we and would have made some comments at this mid-year budget review. And that is what we have been protesting about, and we have been hoping that the government would have included in that 2.8 billion, in that assessment, would have already assessed what it will cost for RHA workers and also obtain that funds. Because if it's not obtained in that budget, it means that we will be left on 2013 salaries for the remainder of 2026. Because by the time the next budget rolls around, October or November, the budget has been coming later and later. That means basically for the entire 2026, we will be remaining on that. And the next opportunity would be probably after the main 2027-28 budget is read in October, November, and hopefully begin to get an increase. But it is really unfortunate if the government decides to, for whatever reason, I say penalize healthcare workers, because we can't understand why such a simple process should be taken so long. But as I said, the only explanation, because I like to be fair, the only explanation I could see why the government is putting through healthcare workers through this is that they haven't totally completed the negotiations for the public servants, and thus they may not want to preempt that. So that's the only logical conclusion. But the association has been repeatedly saying and making ourselves crystal clear that yes, we would want the money now. Definitely, everyone would want their money as soon as possible, because every day that goes by, the value of what you would have earned continues to depreciate. Every single day, every single month, every single year that you have a dollar, it devalues just by not spending that dollar or investing that dollar. Yeah, so what one can purchase in 2014, when we should have obtained an increase, obtaining that same increase in 2026, you could buy a fraction of what you could have bought in 2014. So we continue to, and it's not really a salary increase. We probably have to dismiss that thought from the minds of workers and let them know this is not really a salary increase. All this is doing is reinforcing a salary cut. That is when we eventually get this increase, this payment, all it does is reinforce, it confirms the loss, the hit that you would have taken for those missing years. That is all it really does, because now you cannot go back and renegotiate those periods, because it would have been, a signed deal, and you can't go and renegotiate. And this is why the government themselves would have taken much heftier increases from 21, 23 to 47% increase, because that is the level of inflation that would have eroded the dollar cost, the cost of the purchasing power that each dollar would have for the individual. So that is basically where we are at in a nutshell. Okay. I hope I haven't bored your audience.
All right. Well, some things you said that I just wanted to get clarity on, or I would just want to hear further explanation on. Really, you said that you would have met with former Prime Minister Young, and he would have made open up the the discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But how come you didn't meet with the opposition, which is the present government? Because many of your colleagues or your comrades would have met with them, and maybe because they would have met with them and given them the commitment of supporting them. You see now where the PSA is getting their 10%, and you're seeing where other unions are benefiting because they would have openly showed their support for this government. So is it that while you might be thinking on one hand that the negotiations are stalled because they're expecting us to do or present a figure, when they are not, they just use that as a cover up really to say, well, here what's going on now. We don't think that you all really support us. That's why I would say this to you, Mr. Stuart. That is why one of the talk show hosts on the government station could say that 98% or 90 how much percent of nurses are PNM.
Well, firstly, the association, we are crystal clear in what we communicate. One, we are apolitical. We do not support any political party. We do not, we are not one to bash any other union if they decide to tag their union to a political party. It is just not something we do. And we are a part of a number of other unions who share similar sentiments because our constitution speaks to it. We would never, no one can point to where TTRNA endorses any political party. You would not see that throughout our history. It is not saying that individuals within TTRNA, we are approaching 4,000 members. Obviously, those 4,000 members will have some political affiliation, but that is their individual interest as each member of each citizen in Trinidad and Tobago is entitled to vote for whoever they want. But we don't believe it's our right as a union to tell workers who to vote for, because we comprise of a wide grouping of different ethnic groups, different racial composition, different political affiliations, and it is not our place. Again, if another union chooses to do so, we have no issue with that, but we would go with what our constitution states. Has never been our history. It has been the history of some other unions. So it's easier for them to throw their support behind one political party. But one of the reasons why we want to remain neutral is because we want to always have the ability to call a spade a spade. If the government of the day is doing good, we will celebrate the government. If the government is doing bad, we reserve the right to call out that government and speak as loud as we want, as vociferously as we want, without fear or favor. No one could say, well, we give you that, so you have to stay quiet. And we don't want to be in that compromised position. We don't want ever to be in that compromised position. So definitely, so that's one. Two, we wrote, and we want to be clear about this, we wrote to both political parties requesting to meet. We have done so, at least under my leadership, we have done so for the 2020 national elections, and we did so for the 2025 national elections. We wrote requesting meetings with all political parties, and we are willing to meet with all political parties to further the interests of our membership, to articulate the interests of our membership. And what we do, following those meetings, we will post what the relevant party is promising to do, and we would post what we suggested that they should focus on, what bills they should bring to Parliament, all of those things we normally do. So in 2020, we met with both groups. We met with Dr. Keith Rowley at the time in 2020 at Whitehall, and we would have approached him and told him a number of things. One of the things we asked him is, please don't put back Terence D. Elsing as Minister of Health. I would tell you. We also asked him, please, we went through this pandemic. It was still early days, but we had just came out the first major cycle of the pandemic. And we asked him, look, all over the world, they are rewarding healthcare workers who are battling this COVID pandemic. Please give healthcare workers some type of remuneration to keep them motivated, because we were seeing what was happening on the front lines of the COVID battlefield. And coming out of that, we actually, the then Prime Minister did indeed reward healthcare workers with a month's salary based on, well, they did come back into government, and he did reward healthcare workers with a month's salary when COVID came to an end in 2022.
But there are some people, but you know that there are some people again on the government station saying that you all got nothing, all you got was a tin of biscuit.
Yeah. We hear them, but we know, as you say, we know how that station has, the government has, put their persons onto the station. So we're not too bothered. Well, I shouldn't say we are not too bothered. We are very troubled that state resources are being used
to mislead people.
It's something, is very unfortunate. But that's a whole different conversation, because I have strong views on that. Strong views on that. But I just want to make sure I answer your particular question.
Yeah.
We did also request, as I said, we requested to meet with the United National Congress, who was the opposition at that time in 2020. We requested to meet with the Honorable Prime Minister. A meeting was granted. We went to their headquarters. At that time, it was in South Rushwood Street. And unfortunately, the Prime Minister could not have attended for whatever reason, but we did meet with a number of persons, inclusive of Dr. Lakram Bodo, and I can't remember, I believe Wade Mark, and a couple of the other persons we met with, about 3 or 4 persons. And same thing we did at the Prime Minister residence. At Whitehall, we did at UNC complex, articulating the views, because really and truly, no union wants to be adversarial with the sitting government. No union wants to be combative. Unions want to be able to sit down and dialogue. But, during the days of opposition of these political parties, they're all too willing to meet. But once they assume office, bigger interests steps in, and their focus is distracted. So we did meet both political parties. And we, as usual, did not promise any support, because that is not what we want to do. But we will come back to our members and let them know, this is what this party said, this is what this party said, and it's up to you to make your decision. Fast forward to 2025, we did the exact same thing. Wrote to the United National Congress, wrote to the PNM. At that time, Mr. Stuart Young was Prime Minister, and we met with him. And he didn't even wait until the elections. He initiated, one, the commencement of negotiations, and then two, he also committed to addressing a long-standing issue that we had with our nursing students, where there are 3 nursing schools in Trinidad and Tobago, but only one receives a nursing stipend. It's a small amount, it's just about $1,000, but it helps definitely nursing students because books, as you know, is very expensive. One book is $500, and you need a number of textbooks to do your course. You nursing is like any other profession. You actually have to go. It's part on the job training.
Yes.
You have to actually go to the wards, to the health facilities, the far-flung areas. So you spend a lot of money. It's not just going to a classroom. If you're going, in a classroom in UE, St. Augustine, you actually have to go to multiple sites, Cora, to do your rotations and substance abuse, maternity, your community. So you spend a lot of money, and the world over, you generally give nursing students stipend in most territories, particularly within the Caribbean, but also because the salary is not that like a doctor, for instance, where you could take a loan and be able to comfortably pay it back when you matriculate out. Nursing is not like that. So they tend to encourage persons into the profession, into this 4-year study, by giving this stipend. So we asked for that, and he did commit to doing that. Unfortunately, they were not successful in the elections. We would have put the same agendaed items to the UNC. Unfortunately, the UNC did not meet with the association. For whatever reason, persons was indicating to us that, look, they only meeting with those unions who were willing to throw their open support for the party. And we had a little issue, well, not just a little issue, we had a big issue with that because we weren't prepared to do that. And it's a position that we still remain with. We still, even though we are seeing that, yes, the only people who seem to be winning is persons who have openly supported the party. It's still a bitter pill to swallow, and it's probably a pill too bitter to be swallowed. So it's not something that, at least under my leadership, in the time that I have, would be willing to do. I believe state resources must benefit all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Taxpayers' money should benefit all taxpayers in Trinidad and Tobago. I find it almost offensive that someone will utilize my taxpayers' fund and direct it to only groups who support them. It's a very dangerous line we are at this present time. It's very dangerous. And as a country, if we allow it to flourish and mushroom, then what will stop a next incoming government from not only doing the same thing, but multiplying that action? What will stop the next government from coming in and saying that only unions who support me will receive a salary increase? What will stop a government from coming to say only persons who support the party will get jobs in state enterprises? And we are beginning to see some of these things seeping through, and we as a country saying, well, it has always been so, and this party do it, and what is to happen to persons like myself who is neutral and not aligned to any party? What is to happen to us? That means we will never get employment. We will never get a HEC house. We will never get some of the benefits of state resources because we are not aligned to any party.
So it may come to the point where it may come to the point where you all may have to it may come to the point where you all will have to rethink or revisit that position where you all have taken that here what we are not going to, we're not going through that. We apolitical. We're not allowing, ourselves to fall into that trap. But my thing is, Mr. Stuart, sitting and listening to what you're saying and looking at what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago today, right? Clearly, Mr. Stuart, the government has blatantly showed you all that they are not going to how to put it, they are not going to talk to or work with anybody who doesn't come out and support them. Look at statements that are being made by the Public Utilities Minister concerning protests by unions. I told Ms. Joanne last night, he said some things that, politicians long time may have cringed to say. He said it straight up. He said, they don't like UNC. They are against the government. They don't like UNC. They are racially motivated. And actually, I can't remember the third one. Right?
Prejudice.
Yeah, prejudice. Mr. Stuart, in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, politicians may say the worst things. They may say things that would aggravate, irritate, upset union people. But in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, I've never heard a politician say that the reason why they are protesting is because they are racist.
Well, let me just touch on that, because, and I don't want to be too long on it, because I want to give the goodly minister the opportunity to explain his statements that judge. So I don't want to compromise much.
Okay.
Because the statement, the reporter, Gail Alexander, would have taken a comment that I would have made to a reporter in terms of when they asked me, okay, they blocked basically the whole of Port of Spain with their 15 zones. We were planning a protest to go to the Red House, the seat of parliament, the seat of democracy, and ironically, the seat of that very seat of democracy has blocked us from coming to air our grievances. Okay. And the reporter asked, so what is the next step? We say, well, our members have been suggesting a number of other areas we can go. We probably could go to the hospitals, although we did that and it wasn't successful. The government hasn't changed their position. Another suggestion was, do what some other unions did. Some other unions who are now part and parcel of the government. And which is go to their homes. So it was just a suggestion members made. It was not even a decision of TTNNA. It was just a mere suggestion made by our members, seeing that it was done repeatedly in the past. So we're saying, we will meet. Actually, we meet in this Saturday to decide what is our next move. Lo and behold, this was presented to the Honorable Minister, and one could not have envisioned that a minister would have enunciated such diatribe, such vile words towards a union that represents 4,000 workers and represents workers in a sector where there's in excess of 15,000 workers and 15,000 workers with at least 3 persons in their home. You're talking about 45,000 persons. He has just alienated there by those words. And to do it with such confidence, to do it with such without fear of anything happening to him. And you rightfully indicated it. But what I realize is that the same temperament that political parties have used continuously against each other, they are now directing that towards citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is the frightening thing. You see, because when you hear him, he is speaking to an opponent. He's not speaking to a citizen. He doesn't see the unions as citizens. He doesn't see the unions as stakeholders. He doesn't see the unions as a right to share in the state resources that we all are entitled to. He don't view us in that light. So that is why it's so easy for him just to expound those words without fear. You know, even when I'm talking, I always have to be mindful of the position I hold, because things could be taken out of context. You always have to be guarded when someone asks you a question. You have to pull back sometimes because you don't want, a particular statement to be taken out of context. It happened to me a couple of times, and I had to come out and apologize because it was taken out of context. A reporter asks a particular question, you answer the question, and then persons put it as, you are pushing that agenda. So these things happen. So, I would want to give the goodly minister the opportunity to walk back his comments, to walk back it a bit, or to explain to a judge, where did he get the notion that TTRNA has hatred for the UNC, where TTRNA has prejudice against the UNC, where TTRNA is aligned to the PNM, and above all, the most vicious of all statements, where TTRNA is racist, is expressing racism. He needs to prove that. We cannot allow, even though it may cause more friction between the government and the union, you cannot allow persons to get away with these statements, especially persons in high office, because now it will further bolster them and also some of their other colleagues to make similar statements. Persons resign for less than this within the UK Parliament. But we allow, and we're supposed to be following the UK model, the Westminster model, but persons will be forced to resign. In fact, they will take the principled position and just resign before the calls are made. We need to get to that level. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that is...
So I hear you. Mr. Stuart, so where does the union stand now? Because you all are between a rock and a hard place. You all are between, let us be real. You all are between a rock and a hard place. Because the government has straight up saying, publicly they're saying, hear what? We not really going to talk to or support any union that didn't support us. They're showing it. They're showing it straight up. They're showing it to Comrade Joanne, because she took the position just like you. We are apolitical. We are not supporting any political party. We reserve the right to commend or criticize any government. But when it comes down to the workers and their rights and what they deserve, she is fighting for them. And when you're telling me, I'm just sharing this with you, when you're looking at how they want to give TSTT workers $15,000 gratuity payment of a one-time payment of $15,000 and then start all over again, right? But you pay people in Flavor Village more than $15,000 and you use P-Mobile as the front, as the advertising, as the whatever. Come on, that could never be right. Look at what's happening with teachers. Mr. Crystal said the same thing like you. Mr. Crystal is saying, yeah, what's going on? I the members of my union can support whichever party they want. But we as a union, history has taught us for the time of him knowing the history of the union is that here we are apolitical. We don't support any political party. But lo and behold, when they signed off on the 5%, they have look what they go through to get the 5%. The back pay was promised to them. Up to now they can't see the back pay. They say, well, all right, in this midterm they will get the back pay. And it is obvious, it is very obvious and in your face that this government, the same thing happened to Mr. Beak. The same thing. Mr. Beak did not run out and support the government. You understand? She has to go through the same pressure. Now that you have recognized that you have a fight on your hand, what are your next plans? And he said, I'm not saying for you to let out of the bag if you're going to take the government to court or what, but there must be some sort, because we know that there are a lot of nurses listening. There must be some assurance that you can give them that here what's going on. This is where we reach to. This is the breaking point that we have reached to with the government. We have a plan in place to ensure that we sit at the bargaining table. Because clearly I'm telling you, sorry to tell you, but you see that man Tim Guppy Singh, he look as though he want to talk to nobody. And you all made a call that they must remove Mr. Tim Guppy Singh as the chairman. He look like he going nowhere soon. And the minister, apparently Tim Guppy Singh is the Minister of Health. Because the Minister of Health, people are actually, I know I'm ranting, but it is, I need to say this too, Mr. Stuart. People are actually complaining and ranting and saying that they're not getting their drugs. Diabetic patients are not getting their drugs. How much other patients are saying that they're not getting their drugs? And this thing is very, and somebody met me the other day and was buffing me and saying to me, sir, you have a big podcast, over 1,300 and so many people will be listening to you, close to 3,000 people will be listening to you, and you have not opened up your mouth and said anything about people who depend on, see that? And you know what it is, Mr. Stuart? It's that you have so much to deal with. And you are fighting so much for the workers, the nurses, that you want to talk, but I see that, you know. And people are getting the medication, you know. But everything keep coming at you. Everything keep coming at this nation. We can't keep up. When we go breed, it's only 1 year, Mr. Stuart, and it feel like if it's 10. When we will breed as a nation, boy, it's so much going on. And I'm sure that the nurses and I can imagine how stressed you are. I hope you're not a know what you call it, you know, pressure tablets. Because Mr. Stuart, the job and the hat that you wear right now, I am telling you, it is stressful. And you know what upsets me about this, and then I'll give over to you. First to begin, Barry Padarat is not the Minister of Health. He is not the Minister of Health. Neither is he the Minister of Public Utility. He's not the Minister of Health, and he's not the Minister of Labor. But you know what? He is like the mouthpiece of the government. What really going on? What really going on? Boy, I don't know. Yes, Mr. Stuart, I hope you heard everything I said?
Yes, for the most part, I believe.
Right.
I got cut off.
Yeah.
for a bit. What I could tell you, I can't speak for the government. And if persons have been listening to me and members of my association, my first vice, second vice, IROs, whenever we speak, we are always remain respectful of members of the government. We would speak strongly. We are not intimidated, but we always remain respectful for office holders. That will continue. What we also know is that healthcare workers, inclusive of nursing and midwifery personnel, will not tolerate working on 2013 salaries into 2027. I am 99.9% sure that will not happen. And if there's anything that would bring down a government, is the collapse of a healthcare system. And the sentiment on the ground right now, the sentiment being expressed by all healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, dietitians, social worker, attendants, PCAs, the general sentiment, what persons who are not even members of the association is calling on the association to make a particular call.
Right.
The association is refusing to make that particular call for a number of reasons.
Tell us, what are the reasons? What are the reasons, Mr. Stuart? No, be honest. What are the reasons? Because let me tell you, Mr. Stuart.
Yeah.
You see how people are calling on you. You see, and I was saying this to a friend of mine today. This government is only in office for 1 year. 1 year they're in office. And I look at the trade union movement, like yourself, Joanne, Miss DeBeek, Crystal, all the other persons who are talking out, because you all are giving them time to come to reality, come to terms with, hey, there are people who are upset, there are people who are hurting, there are people who are expecting better of you, and you all are, it's like a parent keep warning a child. But you know what, Mr. Stuart? The more you keep warning and the more you're not disciplining or you're not standing up, the child will think that, hey, I have taken a decision to behave in this manner, and all you're doing is warning me, then I will continue to treat you a certain way or do whatever I want to do. And that is the attitude of this government. Let us be real. You can't. They're showing you. They're actually showing you. Hey, we don't care about you. You cannot come by the Red House and protest. If you come by the Red House and protest, we'll lock you up. Don't even go in Woodford Square. We'll lock you up. And they actually dictating to you where you can go. And really and truly, you can't go nowhere. But you know what, Mr. Stuart? You are still saying, you still believe in your heart of hearts that a dialogue, talking to you, trying to reach out to you is the best way forward. I understand that. I respect that. But you know what, Mr. Stuart, there have to come a time when you have to say enough is enough.
Well, I mean, what you said is repeating our stance. That time will come. That time may not have to be called by the union, and most likely it would not be called by the union, but the workers themselves, the 15,000 odd workers in the RHAs, will do what they believe is in their best interest. The union may be debarred from making that call because of the sensitive nature unions operate within in terms of the strict walls of an essential service. So we would not be able to say certain things or make certain calls, but the workers themselves, they would run out of patience. They would run out of the overtures being made by the union to ameliorate what is transpiring, to reassure them. They will get fed up of us at some point, and they would take it into their hands. In fact, the workers took it into their hands not too long ago at NCRHA. And while we protesting up at Sandy Grande, the workers end up going and do something totally different. Not totally different, but another group of workers went and did something totally different to demonstrate to the management of NCRHA, hey, you're crossing a line here. And sure enough, management had to backtrack on the decisions they took. So the unions, because we must appreciate the time we are in, it is a very dangerous time we are in. And while I may be a little more militant than the rest of my executive, why I? Because I came through certain struggles. I was part of certain groups and whatnot. So certain things may not faze me as much as others. I might be willing to do certain things, but again, you are representing an organization and you would not want the organization to suffer or the workers to suffer for actions that you took. So, as I said, there would come a time, and I already indicated that I cannot envision 2027 is meeting healthcare workers on 2013 salaries. I know that is a red line. I am 99.9% sure workers will not tolerate that. And despite all of the warnings, as you rightfully indicated, that we are giving the employers, we are giving Minister of Health, the Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister, to address workers' issues, there will come a time where workers say, look, enough talk, we taking action. And that time came a number of times for nurses. Persons may have forgotten. But there are times when you see nurses really had enough. And healthcare workers, the entire system shuts down. And if persons remember, just before the coup, or just before Eric Williams died, or there are a couple of times, where these things would have transpired. And it's almost as if healthcare workers, and particularly nurse and midwifery personnel, are the thermometer of what is happening on the ground. And right now, the thermometer is bursting. It's overheating. And we hope good sense prevails. I saw you sent a comment. Somebody asked a particular question in terms of the RMU status that TTRNA has. I just wanted to quickly address that.
Yes, you can.
So TTRNA...
Yes, you can.
Yeah? Yes, I just wanted to address that. So TTRNA, persons may not really understand how the RMU process works. And that's why TTRNA is one of two unions to ever obtain RMU, first to begin recognized majority union status within an RHA. There's only two unions who have ever done it. And first one was MPAT in Southwest. So MPAT only has one RMU in Southwest Regional Health Authority. However, when they negotiate for all doctors throughout Trinidad and Tobago, because you cannot pay one doctor differently in Southwest than you're paying them in Northwest or North Central or Eastern. Yeah? So, same thing with TTRNA. Yes, we have one RMU in Eastern for one group of workers, the supervisory group, but once we negotiate for them, it will apply for all nurses, all nurses in the supervisory group across the board. With regards to the remaining nurses in the rank and file group, as we call them, those nurses you would see on the floor and stuff, we unfortunately plagued by the inefficiencies of the public service, namely the Registration, Recognition and Certification Board. We are at the mercy of them. So an action, an evaluation that should take no more than 3 to 6 months takes in Trinidad and Tobago 6 to 15 years. 6 to 15 years to be completed. An action that should take 3 to 6 months. So we have applied to represent workers and all of the other RHAs, and through no fault of our own, we have been a number of hurdles have been placed in front of us. Thankfully, we have overcome majority of those hurdles, including legal battles. We actually had to take the RRCB, Registration, Recognition and Certification Board, to court for the right to represent workers, and we won. We won on 2 occasions. And guess what? We have them in court yet again for another RHA. But hopefully good sense will prevail. There's a more knowledgeable board in place, and we generally believe things will move a lot faster.
Mr. Stuart, you keep saying you better let something now. You should be a pastor. You are real faith, you know. You are real faith. You have real faith to believe that, hey, you know, you said it just now. You know, we believe that good sense will prevail. But Mr. Stuart, let me tell you something now. These people will drag you. They will drag it. I am watching. I want to ask you this. What is happening at the Cova Hospital? Has it been changed over to Children's Hospital? Are there children warded there?
I do not believe so. I don't have any information to confirm that. I don't believe. I know they have been using it to do some surgeries.
Since under the last government, they're doing that.
Been used for.
Right.
Correct. Since it has always been used for. The problem with Cuba Multi-Purpose Training Facility or Cuba Children's Hospital, they change the name so much and they keep reopening it so much. I have lost check. We just don't have enough nursing and midwifery personnel in Trinidad and Tobago. So if they attempt to really fully open that facility, the only way they could do it is by reducing the number of staff from other institutions.
No, that's not what they're going to do. Let me stop you. And that's why I will remind you. That's why I will remind you. That's why I'm glad you're here to remind you what you say.
Yeah. You
told them that because they were going to bring nurses from India.
No.
And you said to them, those nurses are only coming to Trinidad and Tobago to get experience, learn English, get experience, and go to the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, but they have not brought it. You're
laughing. You know why you're laughing? You know why you're laughing, Mr. Stuart? You know why you're laughing? It's because you know Mr. Stuart, these people on games, you know. And they're dancing, they are dancing at good walls with you. They're dancing here.
Me. No. Not with me, you know. Because remember, all we do is for the benefit of citizens and our members. It's not me. They're not doing me anything.
Right.
Like yourself, we are trained nurses. We can leave in the morning and go and get a job in another country. So they're not doing me anything.
Right.
But the main reason, and I have always indicated that the main reason why they cannot open fully Hoover Children's Hospital or any hospital to that effect, we don't have the required numbers of nursing and midwifery personnel, and we don't even have the specialist nurses nor the specialist doctor to really open another hospital. So what they would have boasted recently, the government, that they did a number of surgeries and all of that. They actually reduced the number of surgeries at San Fernando General Hospital and redirected staff from San Fernando Hospital and Point Fortin Hospital down to Hoover Hospital to perform surgeries and then go back to just to indicate that they're doing surgeries there. So there's nothing that happens in the healthcare system that doesn't come to the ear of myself. We are aware. We are aware of every single thing that is going on. We are aware of when persons who have money goes to private facilities, well-known persons, 1%ers, as they say, they go to their private facilities, encounter a difficulty, and because in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, there is few hospitals that can handle certain traumas, particularly for neonates, particularly for children, and you still have to come back to the public service, even though you don't want to. You still have to come back to the public service to stabilize your loved one, even if it means temporary until you're able to airlift them out. You still have to come back and rely on the public healthcare system. We are aware of all of those things, and we see the type of energy, the effort to make those persons comfortable in the public healthcare system, even though they didn't even want it to be there and they could more than afford to be in the private sector. But that is to tell you, even those persons who believe the public healthcare sector, we don't need to do that. We have private health insurance, so we have $3 million in the bank. There'll come a day you will require the services of the public healthcare sector. We have seen ministers. I personally could tell you, I have had to see about, when I was still a clinical nurse, had to see about a minister of health. Me personally had to care for a former minister of health in a private healthcare facility. So, a number of things, a number of my colleagues have seen about former ministers in different capacities. Obviously, we're not going to call their name, but you would require a nurse at some point in your life, no matter how much money you believe you have. So, and it's a sad thing, as speaking to that particular former Minister of Health, when he was in a particular situation, he would have told me, if I woulda, coulda, that phrase, if he knew now what he knew then he may have done something differently and all of that. But by that time, it's too late. And it is so unfortunate that persons get into office and they may be blinded by the flashing blue lights and not focus on really making the lives of our citizens incrementally better, and more focus on gaining political mileage and all of these things. There will come a time where they would be saying if they coulda, woulda, shoulda. So yeah, the one thing I don't want is to make this about me. I am good. I have my qualifications in a number of areas. I have no hubris. I could go back to working on the floor. I could go and work anywhere.
That is why
we cannot make this about individuals.
Right.
We have to make sure our agitation is directed and our energy is directed in the right. So I have no problem with bashing a minister today and condemning him for doing wrong, and then sitting down in the morning if he calls to have a meeting. I have no issue with that, because it's not about my ego or anything. It's about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, I have a question for you. Someone sent a question here. Would the Nurses Union Association be attending the Labor Day celebration? And if they would, would they be supporting the presence of the government? So like last year, the Prime Minister walked through the crowd and everybody cheered and raved and was really happy, and they supported her and happy with her. This year, Faizabad, would the unions be, certainly Mr. Anson Roger said that he supports his government. Yeah. So he is, maybe, I don't know, I can't say for sure, if he will invite the Prime Minister again as the guest of honor on the platform at the Faizabad celebration of Labor Day. But my question to you is, the question is asking you as a union that is not, you're hearing the statements from ministers. How would you feel to see Barry Padrat walking through the crowd and hand being lifted up by other union members when he said to you, or he said to people who wants to protest, that you all are against their government and you all are racist? But he walking through the crowd and the people clapping and singing and jeering and saying, yes, we live holy reigns of power. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, with me on this occasion, on this one occasion, I know there's a protocol with a protocol with interviews. You have to allow at least one question to remain unanswered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
And well, our members already know what is happening for Labor Day with respect to TTNNA. Our members already know. But in terms of information to the public, I let the day pan out and the public would see. Yeah?
You know, there are people who are asking also, will the independent unions be allowed to speak against the government on the UWTU platform? That's another question that you all need to ask Comrade Roger.
Well, again, well, I am aware that all unions who would be attending would be able to speak on the platform. That's the first part. There are normally two parts. Up at Avocat Junction, all unions will be able to speak. All those unions who are attending will be able to speak. Yes. And they generally speak their truth. Yeah, their realities. No one can determine or dictate what unions can or cannot say. Yes? There may be persons in the crowd.
Yeah.
There may be persons in the crowd who may want to heckle you or whatnot, but it's up to the union leader to speak their truth on behalf of their membership. No one can dictate that pace to any union.
Wow.
For those unions who are attending.
You know, today you all would have delivered a letter to the Prime Minister's office. I want to play that clip and hear and allow you to share with Trinidad and Tobago what that letter was about. Would you allow me to?
Yes, I'm aware of the clip.
All right, but I want to play it for those who didn't see it.
For the audio.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thirteen trade unions are calling for an urgent meeting with the Prime Minister. The group that calls themselves the Progressive Independent Trade Unions delivered a letter to the office of the Prime Minister today seeking talks over 15 no-protest zones.
The union leaders say the measures threaten their ability to represent workers and exercise their democratic right to protest. Otto Carrington has more.
With protests now prohibited within 500 meters of 15 designated locations in Port of Spain, trade union leaders use a measuring tape to demonstrate their frustration.
So every time we go somewhere, right? That's what listen to. So every time we go somewhere, we have to walk with a measuring tape. Every time we have to walk with a measuring tape.
After threatening legal action over the no-protest zone, the Prime Minister refused to back down and the unions aren't giving up either. On Tuesday, 13 leaders delivered a letter to the office of the Prime Minister at Whitehall, led by Tutor President Crystal Ash. The unions are seeking dialogue over the controversial 500-meter restriction on public demonstrations.
We don't believe that it was the most well thought of because there was no dialogue, no communication. And in the absence of communication, then it's sometimes, just sometimes, you have the wrong decision being made. And we are willing. Let us get together, let's discuss, let us see if we could find a compromise, a middle ground. Madam Prime Minister, you have the ability to chew through this matter.
Asked about the absence of Ansel Roger and JTAM's leadership from the delegation, Ash declined to speculate on Roger's absence but maintained that all unions had been informed of the initiative.
We, this 13 of us, we are here. There's no shift, there's no rift, there's no division. We are here to articulate something because if other persons are not doing it, we can't wait for them. We can't wait for them. We have to do what is necessary. Our members are hurting. They need their voices to be heard.
Ash argued that the 500-meter restriction would make it difficult for unions to effectively stage demonstrations and represent workers. He also indicated that if the government ultimately declined the union's request, any future response would be decided collectively.
It will not be a unilateral decision. It is not Tutor's decision alone. All the independent unions who are here, we will get together and we will determine the way forward. We cannot divulge that to you at this point in time because when you're doing little, you can't let everybody know your business.
The unions are optimistic about meeting Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar soon. Otto Carrington, CNC3 News.
Talk to me, Mr. Stuart. What's that about? Tell me.
Yes, well, a number of trade unions, 13 plus trade unions, and counting, the number is growing, would have expressed, as we continue to do since last week, our strong objection to these 15 zones banning protests, because it's a number of things, and we want to reiterate to persons. There is no law in Trinidad and Tobago prior to this legal notice 40 of 2026. Prior to that, there was no law in Trinidad and Tobago that banned or denied you the opportunity to protest. So if you had any issue with a supermarket, you could go and protest outside that supermarket. You could go and protest outside of a school. You could go and protest outside the office of the Prime Minister, outside Parliament. Nothing debarred you from protesting. So this legal notice 40 introduces a ban on protest. Persons must understand that. Before we get to any other aspect, persons must understand this is something new being introduced into the population, that you cannot protest in just by saying you are not allowed to protest, forget where it is. This is something new. Because if you get bogged down just with the 15 zones and all of those things, you will get distracted and realize that this is something new that did not exist before, which is the state is telling you you cannot protest. And we know when the state says that, despite what jargon they use, how they couch it in legal language and where it is for, it really means what they are really saying. You cannot protest against the state. That is what it really means. Because 100% sure, if that protest is against somebody not in favor of your actions or in favor of the state, they would have no issues with that. The police, despite how independent we may believe they are, would not interrupt a protest towards an opposer of the state. Yes, despite how we would like to think so, but there was a recent example where the police did not intervene. I don't need to get into it. So it really is targeting people who have an issue with some measure that the state is taking, and you want to lodge your dissatisfaction, which has always been our right and has been the right of all democratic states. And if we begin to slowly erode that, then you would have a situation where, okay, the second stage is you cannot protest in these 15 zones, which kind of mapped out the entire Port of Spain area. So you cannot protest in Port of Spain because we did an overlay of 500 meters, which is a long distance, which is the distance that Jehu Gordon and Jerome Richards runs. Plus, you have to add on an additional 100, because they only run 400. So add on that, and then you begin to picture, not that you cannot protest alone in front of Parliament, not that you cannot protest on the pavement, or in the street, or in the Woodford Square, but you can't even protest in Frederick Street. You can't even protest in Charlotte Street. That is the kind of distance we begin in. You begin to see how far away you have to go before. And then when you overlay that with another building, with the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of... when you begin to overlay all of these things, you realize, but wait now, 500 meters from all of these buildings leaves basically nowhere in Port of Spain where you can't protest. Then it goes a next step further. You cannot march, because if your march is coming through one of these zones, you would be in breach of the law. So you cannot protest, and no, you cannot march. You will be denied marching. You needed approval from the Commissioner of Police, and that is we just undertook one of the largest protests in Port of Spain for quite some time. As a single union, there have been a number of combined union activities under the PNM, where a number of unions joined up under different umbrella bodies. But this was the first time such a large individual group came out on the streets of Port of Spain in the thousands. And we know the detail that the police, the information that they need, and you need cut license, you need police commissioner certificate, you need EMA license, you need the amount of hurdles you have to obtain to ensure police grants you the permission to march is and that is why the police say definitely you can't come 2 days before and get permission. But the amount of investigation they have to do, and they want to know who will be speaking on the platform, and all of those things has to go in place. So there's literally no way you could do it in 2 days. So generally they tell you at least 2 weeks before, at least. Generally we try to do it even longer. So we cannot march in Port of Spain, we cannot protest in Port of Spain. And these are where we normally go to protest. Remember, the point of protesting is trying to influence the policymaker. If you cannot now go to where the policymaker is working, where the policymaker is devising and coming up with these policies, if you can't go there, then where do you go? and this is why we see is really unacceptable. And you saw the response from the Public Utilities Minister. If we even contemplate going to person's house, as other unions have done in the past, what does he think of us? Yeah? And so these are the dynamics. So that letter was simply to say, Honorable Prime Minister, you may not have thought this out fully. You may be surrounded by a number of persons who would not generally challenge your decisions or allow the unions to come and have a discussion with you and let us try to work this thing out. And if at the end of the day, you still hold to your point of view, we still hold our point of view, at least you gave us the opportunity to explain our challenge with this scenario that is happening. Because again, if we don't challenge these things, and I remind your listeners, if we don't challenge these things now and don't correct it, or simply just challenge it, then guess what? Another party, another government may not only repeat it, but extend it. They may say, well, it's 35 places now you can protest. It's 40. What is stopping them? Because the template has been laid. And we know politicians generally like to use that language. Well, the other government used to do it and you didn't complain. In fact, that's the sole talking point for most of the fake social profiles now. You didn't do it in 10 years, so why are you doing it now?
Which is a lie. Which is a lie.
Which is a lie. And I think they know by now it's a lie. I think they know by now.
Yeah.
Because so much information has been put out there. It will be very disingenuous if they really believe that. So I think everybody in Trinidad knows that is a lie by now, but it is the only talking point they have. So I guess they have to continue.
I want to play 2 clips for you before we take some calls, Mr. Stuart. 2 clips. I want you to listen to this one first and tell me what you think about this one. If this might be the second, this might be the second one you may not want to answer, but that's cool. Alright? But listen to this one and then I'll play the other one and then we'll take some calls. Cool?
Sure.
Alright.
OWTU decided to come and assemble outside of the Red House. OWTU decided to come and assemble outside of the Red House ahead of the government's first budget presentation.
Well, thank you for asking that question. First of all, we want to state with absolute clarity that we support the government. We are in government. We have 2 of our comrades in government, if you remember, in the Point 14 and the Library seat. And therefore, we support the government in its first budget and to its 10th and all the budgets, because the PNM is never going to come back. We are coming from a very deep, dark place, the country that is, where the PNM would have placed the country. Yeah. And therefore, despite all of the challenges that we are aware of, we are confident that this budget is going to take into consideration the valued input of workers in this economy. And therefore, workers' issues are going to be addressed. We are confident. And so we are waiting to see what the final outcome would be, and then we'll make our assessment going forward. But let it be known that like no other time, this time like no other time, we are supportive of all of the initiatives because we have been making significant input into what will be read today. And in terms of carrying out all of the different streams to ensure that this country earns more, where everybody will benefit. Yeah?
Do you think that the government will be able to provide the unions with the 10% that it promised? And if it does not, are you going to be disappointed?
Well, no, we hold no such view. We know for a fact that the country is in a bit of a crisis. They met it that way, that the PNM would have plunged. The PNM knew 2 things: to tax people and send them home, tax them and send them home over and over, and attack trade unions and workers. And that has not been the case here. In fact, we are we would have contributed to the workers' agenda. And a lot of changes will be made to the law as it relates to how do you treat workers, how do you remunerate workers. As to the promises that the government would have made on the campaign trail, we are confident that those promises, all of them will be kept. The timing of it, we cannot say now because of the challenges. But I want to make bold to say that everybody will win. Let's have patience, and everybody will win. The workers will win.
The government is now looking to explore the Dragon gas deal. They got a 6-month OFAC license from the United States. Now, the trade union movement has been in support of non-intervention as it pertains to Venezuela. Where do you guys stand now? Because you've been particularly mum on this issue.
On what issue precisely?
With regards to the United States sending troops into the Caribbean Sea and talks about a possible invasion, where does the union stand?
Yeah, well, we are for a region of peace. We always maintain that, and we have seen nothing to the contrary thus far. However, we are happy for any initiative that would bring the country revenue at this point in time. And that is not the only initiative. There are multiple initiatives which you'll hear in the budget that will bring revenue to this country.
So do you support the Prime Minister having talks directly with Nicolas Maduro as President of Venezuela?
Whatever it takes. I don't know that has been first on the agenda, but whatever it takes, we support the Prime Minister and this government to ensure that the country benefits from the type of governance we have never seen, but which we will get now. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Any comment, Mr. Stuart?
I don't know what's. There's not much to comment. I think it's well known that the OWTO is one of the unions that has openly supported the government, and they continue to do so. So I don't think there's much that I can contribute to that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to play this one. I really want to hear your views on this one, which is something that I think you will be very aware of because you made the statements now. So, I just really want to hear, I just want you to share with Trinidad and Tobago. And Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to listen carefully. Because, it's a fight, Mr. Stuart, and I know that you are very strategic in your fight, how you take on a fight. But I must say I like how you would have presented this to the nation today. Take a listen to Trinidad and Tobago.
Give the assurance of our goodly MP, Barry Padarat, this morning, that the association would not protest, and I'm saying it on public TV, the association is not going to protest Barry's Padarat house or any minister's house. What we will do, what we will consider going forward is campaigning in front of their house. We know they have come to our house to influence us for their votes on a continuous basis. I live in a marginal. You will not see more campaigning in front of person's house other than a marginal. They come every single day, every night, they trouble our children. They interrupt the lives of our adults continuously to influence our decision. And when we want to influence their decision, we cannot go to them. Something has to be wrong with that. So the word protest, we will no longer protest, if that is the offending word for Minister Padarat. But we will consider campaigning in front of their house, and I would want to ensure him, just to demonstrate there is no hint of racism, no hint of prejudice, no hint of political influence. It might be his house we will campaign first, but it's just a possibility. Yeah?
How do you, because both of you and your unions.
So you went to campaign in front of by the MP's home?
Well, it's a possibility, and it's a possibility that we would are planning to decide on when we hold our central executive meeting. We will be putting things in place. So once there's no announcement from the government as to how and when healthcare workers will be given a salary increase, we would have already made the decision whether or not we're going to march somewhere, campaign somewhere, and who do we campaign by also. All of those decisions would have already been made. So when I announce to the nation and to our members what is our next step, I would have already had the blessing of my executive. Yeah?
All right. So let's take some calls. Hello, hello, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Stuart.
Good evening. Yeah.
No, I want to know what will be the situation on June the 19th with the commemoration of Labor Day 2026. With you and your colleagues who would have gone to the Whitehall today and handed over that letter, and Comrade Roger as presented in the previous clip before. Because I want to know if Comrade Roger has the same opinion now that promises kept will be made, will be promises kept, because the Petrochem refinery has not been reopened. More people this week will be going home. People from the Self-Help Commission and so on. 14,080 jobs created. Short-term employment, not really long-term sustained employment, that and people who would be represented by any union. So if you're talking about attacks on the trade union movement, I mean, we would have seen the Severance Act passed by the Parliament. I don't know if it has been assented by the President yet, but really and truly, when you think about the obligations that act has imposed on employers in the current environment, how many workers will really benefit from the enhanced retrenchment and severance act? So I'll just leave it there for now, and if you could please answer my question on what will be the atmosphere come June the 19th going forward. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Yes. Okay, so let me probably tackle the most important, in my humble opinion, of his comments first before I forget. In terms of that Retrenchment and Severance Benefit Act, it's the association, and I know it's a number of other unions, that while we welcome, being that it's being updated, I don't believe it has been ascended, I'm not sure. But we definitely welcome that particular bill. I'm not sure, again, if it has been assented, being updated, and we look forward to all of the other labor legislation being updated. That has been on the cards for so long to be updated. However, we do not believe it went far enough, because one of the major shortcomings of that bill is the fund that is supposed to accompany that bill, and a fund that the employer is supposed to be paying towards. That part of it has been left out. So no matter how strong you put that bill to be in terms of the words and the jargon and all of that, you strengthen it. Yes, that has been done. But if you don't have the accompanying fund, then the same way that ArcelorMittal left Trinidad and Tobago and left the workers high and dry, the same thing will happen. Just that you will have stronger laws. But if the employer closes down, because generally when there's retrenchment and severance means that the employer has no more money. So if at that point in time you are trying to elicit money from them, it will be in vain because they have already declared bankruptcy. They have really gone out of business, and it's the workers to catch. So while they are solvent, while they are still operating, a fund should have been created, and the retrenchment and severance did not do not have that as it's currently titled. With regards to what is happening with Labor Day, again, well, it goes back to the same question that you would have asked me, comrade, and it is really a wait and see what will transpire on Labor Day for those unions who will be present. Yes, there are other unions who would have taken a different position and more, well, you would see in the fullness of time. Our members already know what we plan to do or not do. They're already fully apprised of that. So we have made our decision. But those 13 unions who would have dropped off the letter today, they are 13 independent unions. It is not that we are a federation of our own. The only federations are the JTUMs, the FITUMs, the NATUCs. Those are still the federations. These are just unions who were very disturbed by this particular legislation, Legal Notice 40, and sought to bring like-minded persons together to push through this agenda in terms of approaching the Prime Minister. Yeah, I hope I touched on all his comments.
All right, let's take some more calls. 464-7003, 464-7003. So if you're calling outside Trinidad and Tobago, you have to type 1868 and then you put in the number. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Good night, Pastor Boo. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
Good. Pastor Boo, I want to say something, I am from the olden days with trade union leaders like George Wick. And I'm speaking with men who had the guts to say when a strike action, a strike action. And they were not afraid to make jail or to go through all the rubber bullets or whatever. But something is wrong with these union leaders tonight, in these times. It's either they compromising or they're selling the workers under the bargaining table or something. But the union leaders, in the present time, they need to get serious. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Mr. Stuart, you heard that? You heard what the caller said? You heard how the caller feels about trade unions?
Yes. And
the reason why, Mr. Stuart, people feel that way is because they find that you have the feeling that you all have a level of hope that things will change under this government. They would wake up, they will wise up, they will realize that things are people are unhappy. But Mr. Stuart, when you look at the arrogance of some of the ministers, when you listen to the way how they are very condescending, you are a real hope. I tell you could be a pastor. You are a real faith. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon to Mr. Stuart. Good afternoon to you, Pastor.
Mr. Stuart, I just call this call at 10%.
Oh my God. I am in full support of Mr. Stuart.
You know what?
I am in full support of Mr. Stuart.
So you support Mr. Stuart in his stance to wait, to just lobby with the government to try and
he and the executive has their way of doing things. I can't tell them how to do things. But like I say, he will good. He will come. He will come. I believe he will good. I'll give him that.
So we come to tell Mr. Stuart now.
Well, Pastor, I don't know how somebody after you don't have your fees, you turn around now. I want to penalize them because you save your life.
Say that again. I don't think he hear you.
Somebody, I don't know how somebody could wake up every day and knowing for a fact people save their life. And advising people save their life, you turn around today and you're making them very simple to save their life is very hard. I want to call names because I want to put in the showing problems and Mr. Stuart don't know what we're talking about.
Yes, I think I understood what he said.
It is so sad. And the funny thing is, Pastor Google, I don't think you know. You know. No, it is alleged, I don't want to put a showing problem. It is alleged that my young leader happened to be seen on that board.
Not happened to? What's alleged? Yes, they are on. No, they're not showing problems. They're talking the truth. If you're talking a lie, then you're probably showing problems. But if you're talking the truth, it is a known fact. If you Google it, you will see the person who you voted for as your leader. You voted for them to be your leader. They are sitting on that board. You voted for her.
I am the detective. I said a sucker from here.
Okay.
Right. I know I voted for the individual. However, our election was long before April 28th. We had no intention that individual was going to give all in them and hand it over to the
no, that's not true. That's not true. After why are you bringing Mr. Stuart in this? After you voted for the individual came to the media and said that her next appointed move is to get rid of the government.
The individual that wasn't saying on the campaign chain.
All of a sudden, no.
When she win.
All of a sudden, no.
Anyhow, that you vote for. I am in full support of Mr. Stuart.
All of a sudden,
you know that plaster in the street every day. And every time that I vote for her, I know I vote for her.
I'll make sure you know that. I'll make sure you know.
Yeah.
You
let me get some winner, right?
All right. You have a good evening. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Hello, good evening. Hello? All right. I missed that call, Mr. Stuart. But Mr. Stuart, you have the support of that caller.
I wanted to respond to the second caller in terms of the militancy of unions and whatnot, comparing it to George Weeks and the butlers and all of them.
Yeah, comparing it to today, where you all are very soft.
Persons must appreciate we live in different times with a different mindset of the population. We are living in an environment where persons are more have that Western philosophy. It's more about me as opposed to the collective.
Okay.
During George Weeks' times and all of them, it was more of the collective as opposed to the I.
Right.
So you could have quicker organized people in a particular manner.
Yeah.
To get them to do stuff because they saw the importance of being united to achieve a common good.
All right.
Now, persons are so distracted, and you could have a situation where persons don't even know who's the labor leader. Because they are so distracted. They are on TikTok, YouTube, whatnot. So it's a lot of distractions. It's a different time, and there are many other factors. But
all right.
I know you have a caller.
Yes. Hello. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Pastor Hugo.
Hi. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. And to Mr. Stuart, Mr. Stuart, you know, I have any idea of what's going on with cement and waterfront. No longer trying to find out more information or that. Okay, but anyway.
Where's the president there?
It's supposed to be Anisette.
All right. Well, I'm trying to get Mr. Anisette on the line tomorrow. Please, not tomorrow. Sometime this week. All right. Okay then.
Okay.
All right. She wants to talk to Mr. Anisette so bad. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Pastor Google, and to the comrade there.
Yes, comrade, Idi Stuart.
Yes. Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say that the person who called, the caller who called earlier and spoke of the different approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to remember too that in this round here, we don't have a population. Well, let's say a population that is responsive and together like long time. Years ago, back in the Charlie King days, you know, when they dealt with Charlie King and things, down in Faisabad there, you had both races uniting for one common goal, right? With trade unionization and freedom and all this kind of thing, back in the colonial time. Now, I believe Trinidad is so divided, especially where the politicians, this whole thing that Kamala did there is a total slap in the face to all trade union leaders by this law with staying 500 meters from our own building so we cannot protest.
Say that again. Wait, you say that too fast, brother.
Yes.
Who the buildings belong to?
Us, is our buildings. Those are institutions that our forefathers built to protect us and to serve us.
So, and that's why not moving away and not stopping you from your contribution. That is why I have some friends who are lawyers are writing to the UN to find out if what these people are doing to us is illegal.
Well, it is morally and ethically wrong, you know. It is nasty to do something like that in a democracy. You can do something like that in some kind of dictator, some sort of dictatorship, right? And get away with it because you have a police state that will gun down people in the street. But when you talk about a democracy, that is an inherent right of every individual who born here, every citizen, even persons who are citizens by naturalization, by law, can protest also because they became citizens. So at the end of the day, she telling the unions to go to court is a really disrespectful thing. And I don't think Trinidad and Tobago really waking up and seeing that. And then to look at the trade union movement itself, right? I'm not going to be... Why is it in this crisis where tens of thousands of persons were sent home, and this somehow they're just looking as if people waiting to get a refinery that they would never get, or they will keep prolonging that and making promises and keeping people at bay, and time will be passing and they will be serving their own agenda. One of the things I wanted to do, I have some information for the brother there, and I wanted to find out how to contact him, right? How to contact the office that I could drop that information for him, and I think it's some serious information that he would be interested in.
Mr. Stuart?
With regard to what's going on now.
All right, so just what to do, just message me, and I will chat with Mr. Stuart. Mr. Stuart, is it okay that I give him your number?
Yeah, you can give 280-1546.
Right, so you got that number, caller?
No, say it again, please, sorry.
280
1546.
Thank you. Pastor Google.
Yes, sir.
Pastor Google.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Bernard Yorching here, the guy who wrote the book.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if I tell you I have information for him that will be critical for towards what he's doing, don't make no mistake about it. I have that.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, brother. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're most
welcome.
Right, brother. All right, yeah. Bye-bye. Mr. Stuart, you're hearing how the people feeling, and you're aware of how how people feeling. But I must say, Mr. Stuart, that you have been able to bring out the nurses. And from what you are saying to me and what I'm recognizing also is that you might even know when the protests might hit. You might just hear San Fernando shut down, Port of Spain shut down, St. Anne shut down, and you might be in total shock. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to Mr. Stuart. I have one question. Should I say a question? I don't think I'm putting it as a question to you. I'm putting it as a statement, and you can respond to the statement, Mr. Stuart. How much of you guys went to the Prime Minister office today? How much different members? How much are you guys? How much unions make up this independent union? How much of them went to that place today, Pastor Google? Teachers.
Mr. Stuart will answer you. How much of you went, Mr. Stuart?
Teachers, nurses.
He's going to answer you just now.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Stuart. How much?
Yeah. We represented 13 unions today. 11 persons actually attended. Yeah?
So 13 unions, Pastor Google.
Right.
Don't you think that the government sit down and these 13 unions are not part of who went down to Faizabad, not part who went to the budget debate? That's all right?
Say that again. Just now. Say that again. If those are not the unions,
these unions didn't go down to Faizabad and sit down and have a dialogue with the Prime Minister with the Labour Day business.
Well, last year, just now, yes. Mr. Stuart, were you all in Faizabad last year with the Prime Minister?
We went, all unions who normally go to Faizabad for Labor Day were there in Faizabad for Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And the politicians did end up coming to Faizabad also, unbeknownst to the rest of the labor fraternity.
Right.
Yeah, and that is what, that is why a number of unions may, having had that experience, may take a different stance this year.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So therefore, Pastor Google, these 15 places of no protest in Port of Spain, technically that's what it is.
Right.
You can't come to Port of Spain and protest.
Right.
It was already planned, knowing the financial position of the government, knowing the promises they made to those 13 unions that cannot be fulfilled with the that's why the state of emergency is extended, Pastor Google, because of these 13 unions. Because if they were to combine and come out in Port of Spain, if I was to remove the state of emergency, they would have other people join on with them. I would have CPEP, I'll have forestry, and you know what else, Janja? So, Mr. Stuart, you're waiting until 2027 I make that statement. That was promised to us. Tighten we belt, Mr. Stuart, till 2027 and things will get. So this government is hoping and praying that they could keep the population at bay until 2027, hoping that manna and all the oil thing that previously was supposed to come would come on stream. And they will start to throw some little rations out to the little, minions outside. Enjoy your night, sir.
All right, sir. All right, so
just to confirm, we're not waiting till 2027. Just to confirm that I said the healthcare workers will not wait till 2027. Yeah, healthcare workers expect to be have their salaries increase in 2026. 2027 is not an option. Yeah, wow. From the sentiment that we are getting on the ground. Yeah.
Right. People not willing to wait.
Yeah, we have already waited.
Wow. But they said better days. They said better days are here, Mr. Stuart. Before they said better days are coming, but now they're saying that better days are here.
Correct.
So let's wait and see if how better the day is going to be. But the healthcare workers, based on this mid-year review are not catered for. The healthcare workers are not catered for in this mid-year review. Budget is in October. Let's see if you all are going to be catered for and budgeted for in October. What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure healthcare workers are ready to, well, just to be clear, we have not been waiting and not doing anything. As persons know, we have engaged in a number of protests already at the beginning of this year. We followed up with another major protest in Port of Spain. And following the mid-year budget review, if no commitments are made by the Minister of Finance, then you would see healthcare workers taking action again, as per usual. So we're not waiting. We continue to do what we have to do. And we are one of the few groups, actually, if I trade my mind back over the last 11 months since this government is in office, I think we are one of the few groups who have actually demonstrated. A number of our colleagues also demonstrated, CW, estate, police. So persons are taking action. So I wouldn't want persons to walk away to say that, everybody just waiting and hoping. But we are actually doing stuff on an ongoing basis. Yeah.
All right. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
I called back to say something quick. You're
sounding very muffled, like if something is in front of your face or in front of the phone that we're not hearing you clearly. I'm hearing you a little better. Go ahead.
Right. You know what is really hurt me? To see all the millions and them coming out to stand up for their own justice and whatever. And they are being called PNM. And just imagine, we have a government in power where the PNM built all the buildings with them pay and people protest by it. They don't want people to go in the school. When the PNM start the rally, they ban from places where the building in this country is proper. And they ban him from everything, the PNM building and banning like it was them built. Just imagine that a party without a house to call home. Wow. Have a good night, All
right, madam. Mr. Stuart ain't gonna respond to that. I don't even want him to respond to that. But the reality of it is, Mr. Stuart, is that people are looking on. To people who are very concerned. You have 2,000 people watching right now and listening to the program. Right, Mr. Stuart? Because people want to know, people looking for hope, Mr. Stuart. They're looking for hope. They're looking for somebody to stand up for them. They're looking for somebody to grab hold of. In the sense of, especially in this situation where, see, that is a serious, you know what people depend on those drugs, Mr. Stuart? People depend on those, and nobody is saying, not even the Pharmacy Association is saying anything. Nobody is saying anything. Why? Because we don't want to be victimized. That is the reason why. There's no other reason why people are quiet where this government and how they treat citizens are concerned. Everybody is tiptoeing around the tulips because they still have 4 years to go. They have 3 years to go because they're done in the second year. Right? Everybody is tiptoeing around the tulips because what's going on? Hey, you don't shut down the hospital and let me know. You never know. The Minister of Health, the Prime Minister might have a reshuffle and she might remove that Minister of Health. We might get a fresh Minister of Health. He will move Tim Gopi Singh. He will be able to sit down with us, chat with us, and we might be able to get more than 10% than the teachers, than the PSA workers. So let us not go too hard. You understand? Because we must be able to be reachable and teachable and be able to bring some sort of. But the reality of it is, Mr. Stuart, that hey, the man running the show in is the RHA man. Mr. Tim Gopi Singh is the Minister of Health. You could say what you want, do what you want. He is Mr. Tim Gopi Singh who made the recommendation, that hey, them not supposed to get $75. Cut that. And then he come on and say, well, hey, that was a recommendation from the CPO, and I think that it's time for we now to follow on that recommendation. We serious? He has no authority to make those statements. It should have been the Minister of Health meeting with the nurses, with you, and saying, yeah, what? This is what is happening here. We have some concerns. Is it possible that we can meet, chat, and rectify this situation? That is not what happened, Mr. Stuart. That is what happened, Mr. Stuart. The Minister of Health met with you all about this, the pool situation.
No, he didn't.
It was the chairman who said X, Y, and Z. We are realizing that these people, and they have their strategic plan in how they are about doing what they have to do, and who will like it, lie down by it. As the old people used to say, if you don't eat melanjan and I cook melanjan and rice, well then lie down by it. Because that is why I cook, and you will eat what I cook. It have no democracy here. It's a theocracy. There is no democracy. It is a theocracy.
Yes, yeah.
This is sad, Mr. Stuart.
Correct. And that's why the association continues to do what we have to do. And I, as an individual, also is doing what I have to do as an individual in other quarters to ensure the democracy is preserved within Trinidad and Tobago. Let me leave it as that. I know you probably.
I know I have you on long. I know that you had a long day today, but I want to keep the communication open between the both of us. Let's see how this thing is going to work. How is this going to pan out? Because you will have to wait until October, Mr. Stuart. The reality of it is that this budget, this mid-year budget, this mid-year review, have not catered for you guys. You all are you all are not even on the bargaining table. Right?
Correct.
So, how I foresee it, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Something drastic had happened for them to say, yeah, what? Bring the nurses and them on the bargaining table. Let's rectify this. Or you all have to wait until October. And you all have to wait. This is a wait and see. So what month we are now? June, July, August, September, October. Next 4 months, Mr. Stuart. You all have to wait and see if this government.
Yes.
Because I heard Miss Felicia said that she has given them a presentation, or she has whatever, and she has to wait. She and all have to wait and see.
Yes. It's an uphill task. And it's a task that we cannot sidestep, we cannot avoid. We have to face it frontally, and the association is doing just that. Because we know, because there is really no other union within the healthcare space who has the wherewithal, the membership, the authority. All workers in the healthcare space are dependent on TTRNA to articulate their issues when it comes to this issue of salary increases. So we are aware of that, and we have been encouraging them and letting them know to join with us. And they have been doing that when we initiate the next level of action. But
Mr. Stuart, I know this is your closing remarks. Closing remarks, but you know what? The reality of it is, while it's an uphill task, the reality of it is, Mr. Stuart, that I don't know if you believe or you feel that that these people respect you. Because I remember you, again, I will always remind you of when you went to Exodus Panyard. You stood up in front of Dr. Rowley and you said to him that the Minister of Health is not hiring nurses who are coming out of the nursing schools. And we have a shortage of nurses in this country. When you said that, Dr. Rowley called Mr. Dial Singh to the mic and said to him, what this man is saying is the truth. Tell me if I lie, no, Mr. Stuart.
Correct, yeah.
And he had to answer to the whole nation why the government was not hiring nurses who were coming out of nursing school, knowing that we have a shortage of nursing. You said to us earlier on that you all told Dr. Rowley, hey, reward the nurses and they for the hard work that they have performed during COVID. Reward them. Don't wait until last minute. Reward them. And you said that they got a month salary, which is nothing much. It's nothing much. Nothing to talk about, but they got something, Mr. Stuart. Right? You said to us tonight that you went to Stuart here and you said to him, hey, one set of training nurse, one set of nurses who are being trained are getting a stipend of $1,000 and another setting getting none. Make it make sense. That's unfair. Right? You said to me immediately that was rectified. Right?
Well, it wasn't rectified. That wasn't rectified.
He didn't.
But he committed to doing it.
He committed to doing it.
That's true. Yes.
Because I remember him saying it on a political platform. Right? Because he had given instructions to the Minister of Finance to see what he can do about that. Right? And I'm saying to you, Mr. Stuart, seeing all of those things happening around you, and you know what? You said, yeah, what? I am apolitical. I'm not saying A or B. You all have only choice to make only a choice. And because you stood up in that context, you are seeing now where the other side is saying to you, because you did not publicly come out and support us during the election time, you have a problem. You have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We have a problem. And you know what, Mr. Stuart? I'm sorry to say it this way, but you know what? This was said to us before party before country. Party before country. So while you still holding, and up to today I was telling a friend that, while you still holding on the grounds of hear what? We are apolitical because we should be able to criticize, we should be able to condemn, we should be able to applaud anybody who's in office. But you know what, Mr. Stuart? The tide has turned, you know. The tide has turned, and it has turned for the worse. And people are it's like, hear what? Is either you're committing to me, or if you're not committed to me, then I'm not going to commit to you. And the people who committed to them got the 10%, but they realize that this thing is in the tail. You know, again, all your back pay. You understand? So it's games being played in this country, you know, Mr. Stuart. And I was telling my aunt tonight that even in the UK, nurses are not totally respected the way that they should be. The NHS does strike, And when you see the NHS dump tools, the UK government does feel it, I could tell you because I used to be front and center in the protest. Because you know what I mean? But putting all that aside, Mr. Stuart, I just pray, my prayer for you tonight, sir, is that do not allow this to stress you, because this situation here, people are depending on you. And I don't want you to tell me but your blood pressure high and this and that and the next. Relax. Ask God to show you how to deal with this madness. Because this is madness, You don't just have nurses depending on you, You have the people who are depending on the health system for it to be better and for the nurses to be able to save their lives. So you don't feel that all you're doing is fighting for nurses. You are fighting for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to have a better healthcare system. That's what you're fighting for. And the reality of it is that you are a man, you're standing on what you believe in. You told Dr. Rowley how going on, we can't work with Terrence Yalsing, Because he really don't understand what we're really going through. You want a minister of health who has a level of empathy and who can work with us. We're not gonna. You don't believe that you can get everything, but who is willing to work with us where we could get something. But right now you ain't getting nothing. All you're getting right now is disrespect, and that you are racist. I do understand it. But this platform is open to you, Mr. Stuart. Right? Yeah. At the end of the program, I will send you a picture of how much people were actually viewing and listening so that you could understand that this is not just no little small petty pew podcast. This podcast impacts Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the world. Right? This is a podcast that people genuinely log on to be educated, to be informed, to know what is happening. So I want to thank you. I know you had a rough day today because I could just imagine. Right? But I want to thank you very, very much for being on with us this evening. And I look forward to hearing from you before Labor Day to see what is going, what is happening within the nursing fraternity and the healthcare. Your closing remarks, Mr. Stuart.
Yes, definitely. Well, it's indeed a pleasure to be on with you again. It's been a very engaging discussion, to say the least. And I look forward to, another opportunity to share not just the problems and the difficulties, but probably some of the wins that we are bound to have in the not too distant future. It's an uphill task, but to our members and even our non-members and other categories of workers, we have a lot to do. We have a lot before us, so we must hold faith. We must remain united. There would be persons amongst us who would be attempting to weaken the movement, but I know once we remain united, all things are possible through the Most High. Yeah? So thank again. Pleasant good evening to all of your listeners. Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stuart. Thank you very much. So you all just heard it. I had with me this evening Mr. Idi Stuart, who is the person in charge of the Nursing Association. I don't know her, but boy, Trinidad and Tobago, let's see what's going on in this place, boy. I know you ain't no radio station talking about see that. None. People people are suffering for medication in this country. Suffering. We need to wake up, boy. When will we wake up? Games are being played. Games. And some of us, we don't know who we're waiting for. Who you waiting for to wake up? Eh? I want to play this clip to show you how we need to wake up. Take a listen to this.
Port of Spain Mayor Chinua Alain explains to TV6 just how he learned about the proposed closure of the Port of Spain wholesale fish market in Sealots.
I received correspondence from the Sealots Fisherfolk Association indicating that they were advised by officials from NAMDEVCO of the intention to vacate and permanently close the Port of Spain wholesale fish market in Sealots. And they were advised that that would happen by June 14th of 2026.
The mayor said he subsequently held discussions with Councillor Janelle Frederick and representatives of the association who sought the council's support in lobbying on their behalf.
These recent developments are really a great cause of concern for the fisher folk who use the facility and all of the burgesses that reside in Sealots. That wholesale fish market represents a crucial element of the economic engine in Sealots and plays a critical role in ensuring that the burgesses of Sealots have a stake in the formal economy.
He added that the facility supports a wide range of businesses throughout Port of Spain and beyond, including groceries, hotels, restaurants, and retail vendors, warning that its closure could have a negative impact on local economic development.
Today, I have written to the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Minister of Works and Infrastructure, the Chairman and CEO of NAMDEVCO, and the Chairman and CEO of the Port Authority, requesting clarification on what the intended future plans are for the facility and requesting an urgent meeting with the association.
Alain says he's hopeful that any planned closure will be delayed until meaningful consultations take place and measures are put in place to protect the livelihoods of fisherfolk and the economy of the capital city. Urvashi Tawari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
As soon as the mayor show up down there, they were ready to say, we not gonna close it down. You're right. You're right. Our eyes, we will keep our eyes on the fish market in Sealots. We will keep our eyes open on the fish market in Sealots. I'll close with this.
Anyone who gets up on a platform, who shouts, who berates, who insults, to create hate, discord, anger, and strife, and quarrels with you, they do not want unity and happiness or harmony.
If every single Indian voted for the UNC or for the partnership, they could never get the 51% required.
And in fact, the black man on the other side talked about...
They have their Oreo now. Who's their guy?
At least I have a name for my ancestors. Where you got yours from? Your name is that of a slave master.
Never forget it. Some of you just forget it. Never forget it. So here's where I leave it. Here's where I say my good evening or good night, sorry, to everyone who was on the live. Thanks for your phone calls. Thanks for your messages. Thanks for to Mr. Idi Stuart for being with me this evening. Thanks to all of you who continue to support Constructive Talk on the CTN network. Have a blessed evening, everyone. Talk to you guys tomorrow, please God. God bless. Good night.
The Constructive Talk team with Pastor Google are asking for your support in their back-to-school drive. Let's help the less fortunate children get ready for the new school term. Donations of notebooks, copybooks, stationeries, and book bags would be greatly appreciated. Show your love, show your generosity by contacting 464-703 and we will organize collection of your donations. Thank you from the Constructive Talk team. And remember to be kind, be generous, and be loved.
Coming soon to Constructive Talk Network, Critical Thinkers. It's a youth show with a youth perspective on current affairs and issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Critical Thinkers, youth perspective on Constructive Talk.
Yak and Friends proudly presents Uhuru 8. Join us on Saturday, July 25th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the City Hall Auditorium, Harris Promenade in San Fernando. This year's celebration is held in honor of Mr. Anthony Kamiziong as we continue strengthening our African ties through culture, unity, and heritage. Experience an unforgettable evening of African dance, powerful drumming, cultural expression, and great food. Early bird tickets are $350 admits 2 and $200 admits 1. Come dressed in your finest African attire for a chance to win Best Dressed Male and Female. Celebrate African culture. Celebrate freedom. Celebrate Uhuru 8. For tickets, contact 684-1792 or ticket outlet at Something Special with Finishing Touch at Ritz Plaza, number 25, St. James Street in San Fernando.
The information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Stage a man with a serious song. He comes from the borough of Point 14, and for many years this man has been knocking on the door, always doing good selections. Last year, a lot of the top calypsonians in Trinidad and Tobago said that he should have made it to the final of the Calypso Monarch. But in 1992, coming to do something for us called Law and Justice. Sit back, relax, let me bring on stage Luther.
The judiciary is a mockery. The administrators would die in the fire. You don't know who to trust. The nobleman unjust. The barrister is a professional liar. Yeah. And there is no truth in justice, no justice in the law. The system works for the rich, but it holds no hope for the poor. There is no truth in justice, no justice in the law. Facts doesn't really matter. Once your name a big U is who is a case of who could lie better and who have more money than who. There is no truth in justice, no justice in the law. The system works for the rich, but it holds no hope for the poor. When you commit your murder, check the human rights lawyer. Whether you're guilty or not is not important to him. No. 150 grand, walk with cash in hand, and they're gonna set you free on a technicality. Once you have money, oh gee, why? You know why? Because there is no truth in justice, no justice in the law. The system works for the rich, but it holds no hope for the poor. There is no truth in justice, no justice.